I have been using Linux for 2 weeks now, and experience with it has been fantastic. I'm using Linux Mint, and it is great. In every aspect, it is amazing. There are some drawbacks, I will talk about them in a bit, but honestly, I was surprised how well it works. Everything just works. You install it, and you don't need to do anything else. There are a couple of things, maybe some updates that you need to do. For example, maybe some software that you want to install, but it's really your thing, right? But also, maybe install some drivers, update some stuff, but it's really automatic. You don't really need to do anything. So it has been fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And being free of Windows is just a dream. The moment I installed Linux, I felt so much better. Now, of course, a lot of people may think, why the hell would you want to move away from Windows? Windows is great. And I also, for the entirety of my life, I always thought that Linux is just some weird little penguin thing that you don't really need unless you're into some deep tech programming stuff, like something of that sort. And Windows has always been my home, but the decision that I made to move away from Windows was based on three reasons. They are kind of linked together, all three of those, but I'll try to explain to the best of my ability. So basically, the first reason is bloat. Windows is super bloated. I do not understand how Windows takes 100 gigabytes of my space on my computer. It's insane. I don't get it. And what was really surprising, when I installed Linux, I wasn't aware how big my hard drive actually is, or my solid state drive, right? SSD. Because Linux takes about 15 gigs. So all of a sudden, I realized my hard drive is bigger than I thought it is, or than it was before, simply because there's no Windows anymore. I have more space. And I really enjoy that, because in this day and age, when every gigabyte counts and things like different programs, videos, games can rack up hundreds of gigabytes, having a lightweight system is fantastic, for me at least. So there's no bloat in Linux. You can install or uninstall anything you want. It just gives you full control. You do whatever you want, which Windows doesn't let you do. So all that bloatware in Windows is annoying as hell. Now, second reason is really something that ticks me off, but maybe you don't care about it. So Windows always does something. There's always some process or processes that are going on in the background. And I just leave my laptop. I'm not touching it. I'm, for example, in my phone or doing something else, talking to somebody. I'm not touching my laptop, but it still does something. And it's annoying. I can hear my fans go. I see how there's something. Windows constantly keeps writing something on my disk. So I can see how I lose gigabyte, then it writes something, another gigabyte goes, then it does something else, another gigabyte goes. Now, these are temporary files, and after some time, they get deleted, and I see how I get back my 7-10 gigs of memory, but still, this is weird, and it keeps doing that, and it annoys the hell out of me. I just don't get it. Why? I'm not touching my computer. Why it keeps doing something? Just sit still, for Christ, This really ticks me off. Maybe you don't care about it, but I think it's really important for us to have control over our tech. And if you're not touching it, it shouldn't do anything. What the hell? Sit still, computer, And third reason is all of that crap that Microsoft pushes on you, like this Copilot and all of these different other things that you cannot uninstall, but they keep installing themselves on. Windows Defender, for Christ's sake, Microsoft Edge, you have no control over these things. And it's annoying because they don't. Okay, it's one thing if they're installed on your computer and that's it. They just sit on your computer, they take up space. That's one thing. But they keep doing something, and there's, with every day, or it seems with every update, with every month, there's more and more stuff on your computer that you never asked for, and you can't get rid of it. It's annoying. So these are the three reasons, primary reasons, I decided to move away from Windows, and Linux solves all of it. If you don't touch your computer does nothing. Pretty much on Linux. You can install, uninstall, whatever you want. There's no bloat, it's lightweight, it's amazing. You can load it up, you can install a whole lot of crap on it if you want, but that's your choice. With Linux, you have choice. And really, it took me some time. I've been gearing up, I've been preparing myself, manning up to install Linux for really quite a while. Now, I think that was time wasted for no reason. Honestly, I should not have waited for so long. I should not have spent so much time with Microsoft. I should have just moved away, or with Windows, really. I don't know about Microsoft. I should have moved to Linux much faster, much sooner. And the reason I didn't was I was afraid. I was afraid that it will be difficult. I was afraid that it will be time consuming. I was afraid that there will be issues that I will not be able to solve. And those fears were not founded in reality, fortunately, because installing Linux was super fast. Like, I remember how, in my life, I installed and reinstalled Windows quite a few times, and every single time for me, it is a process that takes time. On modern hardware, granted, it takes maybe 15-20 minutes, right? Maybe even less, depending on your hardware. I don't know. Linux was hella fast. Like, it was fast. I blinked and it was installed. Like, not quite, but you get my meaning. I think it took maybe 5 minutes. Like, installation process was very quick. Now I have much older laptop, a second laptop that is much older, much slower, and there it took a bit. It took about 15-20 minutes maybe, but again, laptop is very slow, very old, so I guess it's just the laptop's problem. And after I installed it, there are no issues. Everything works, anything I want. There was an issue with Blender, I will talk about it, but just look at this. So in Windows, if I want to open Blender, it takes always 2-3 seconds. Here, it just takes half a second, millisecond. That's how fantastic it is. Godot, or Godot, it just opens very quickly. It is great, honestly. Everything is great. It's lightning fast. I love it. There are, of course, some issues. Not everything is perfect. So, for example, with Blender, I had an issue. I will talk about it. Maybe I think I should make a guide for some people, because I've been struggling with it for 2 hours straight, and Blender has been driving me crazy. But there is a dedicated reason. We'll talk about it in the future. One issue I have is with fan control. Like, on my machine, I like to control my fans, but I haven't figured out how to do it on Linux. Like, this is the best option I found. So there's, of course, something in the terminal, so I can use sensors, but it just gives me info, I cannot control anything. I cannot configure anything, and that's a bit sad. At least, maybe there's a way, but I haven't figured out how to do it. So far, one issue that is real issue that persists, and I do not know what to do with it, is fan control. Of course, that is not world-ending, but usually I like to keep my temperatures lower. And on Windows, there is software. So, for example, there was a software called G-Helper, with which I was able to keep my temperature 10 degrees lower than what is the default. Again, usually by default, my computer or my laptop runs at 95 degrees. I was usually running it at 85 degrees with G-Helper. Uh, on Linux, I do not know how to do that. Like, I tried to research that, and I still am researching that, but so far to no avail. That has been the only issue that I need to solve. But for now, I'm just kind of like winging it. I don't care so much about it. Like, uh, there are no real issues. And again, some people may look at me and like, why do you care about your fans? It's just my preference. I want to be able to do that, and I really hope that there will be something. Either there is a solution, there's a way, and hopefully I'll be able to find it. If not, well, I guess I'll need to do something about it. But yeah, and listen, if you're someone like me, if you're sick of Windows but you're too afraid to move on, this is the video for you. This is the wake-up call. You can do it. It will not take too much of your time. It will not be too difficult. It is very straightforward. It is super easy, and I personally regret not moving sooner. Again, it is not some sort of propaganda. I don't care about Windows. I don't care about Linux one way or another. I have no personal stake in it. I don't love or hate neither Microsoft nor Windows nor Linux. I mean, I do hate Windows, but it's for a reason that I described previously. I loved Windows my entire life. I've always used Windows, but now there's a problem with it that you cannot solve. And it is time to move on. At least it was for me. You may not care about it, but I think you should. We should have control over our technology. We should have control over the things that we paid for, So move to Linux. I chose Mint because I've heard this is the simplest, most straightforward distribution. You should not worry about all these different distributions. Don't worry about like Arc, blah, 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 whatever the hell. If it is your first distro, just choose Linux Mint. That's what I did. That's what I can recommend. This is the only distro I have ever tried. So Linux Mint was fantastic, is fantastic. I heavily recommend it. Do it. And yeah, if you have issues, you can research online. There is a community. There's Google, although I would recommend using DuckDuckGo. There are posts. There is info. If you run into issues, you will be able to solve them. And I ran into issues. For example, with Blender, I was able to solve it. It was insane. But there is a specific reason for that issue, and we'll talk about it in the future. But then again, there is info on that. I was able to solve it not because I'm super smart, simply because I found the info. And that information is there. It's easy access, basically. So, yeah, have fun. Have fun.